Alright, so this is part 4. I think the last time I ended in verse 24 of Exodus chapter 21, where it says, eye for eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for a hand, foot for a foot, burning for burning, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. Verse 26, it says, if a man smite the eye of his servant or the eye of his maid, that it perish, which means that if the beating of the maid or the servant goes to the point of which the maid or a servant injures their eye, or which they've lost sight, can't use their eye anymore, then you just have to let the servant or the maid servant go. So let's see. It says in verse 26, and if a man smite the eye of his servant or the eye of his maid, that it perish, gets damaged, he shall let him go free for his eye's sake. So obviously for the eye's sake, the fact that it's got damaged, then that maidservant or servant will have to just go. They'll be let free. And then if you go to verse 27, is pretty much the same thing, but in terms of the tooth. So obviously if the master damages the tooth of the maid or the manservant, that servant would then have to just go, just be let alone free in verse 27. Yeah, so and then also another thing that I found a little bit funny, but obviously that pertains to spirits of vengeance entering animals, is the judgment upon animals that kill their masters, which is pretty much the thing. They're Israelite masters that own them, these animals. Like the ox, it says in verse 29, actually verse 28, it says, if an ox gore a man or a woman, that they die, then the ox shall be surely stoned, and his flesh shall not be eaten, but the owner of the ox shall be quit. So we end the matter of that ox. So basically we just forget about the ox, essentially. That's what be quit means. Say gore, basically that the horns of the ox or the animal just entering through the man or the woman to die, basically. That's what it simply means. And yeah, the judgment towards that ox or the animal that causes the man or the woman to be dead would be to stone that animal to death. That's the righteous judgment to go towards it. And these are the type of judgments on which we need to execute in the kingdom, of course. And obviously these were the judgments that they were executing back in the days of Exodus as well. Let's continue. So look, keep getting disturbed when I'm trying to make this video, man. It's annoying. And it's continuing. It says, so yeah, animals get judgment. Animals get judgment as well. If they kill a man or a woman, then clearly the judgment will be to stone that animal that's killed the man or a woman. And this is within the Israelite community as well, because obviously we're the ones who Yahweh Hashem Yahshua sent these judgments and statutes and commandments to obey and execute as well. So yeah, moving on again. So that animal will be stoned to death. That's pretty much the meaning of that verse 28 to 29 of Exodus chapter 21. And let's move on again. Let's see, I think that's pretty much it. Okay. You can read it yourself. It's very interesting. But yeah, that's Exodus chapter 21 is pretty much the summary of how judgment is supposed to be executed. Like, it gives a broad perspective on different scenarios for you to understand how actual judgment is supposed to be executed, which is the action to take based on the unrighteous actions of all righteous actions, or just actions, plain actions that people have done. Servants, whether they be servants, maid servants, animals, and obviously being in the fight. There are ways to deal with these things, and Exodus chapter 21 is pretty much touches on some of these things as well. Let's see. There's also another one as well. It says, and in verse 35 it says, and if one man's ox hurt another that he die, Then they shall sell the live ox, the one that's living, and divide the money of it. And the dead ox also shall divide. So basically, if one ox kills another ox, if one animal that's owned by one master kills another animal, or the same animal that's owned by another master, then both of them are gonna sell both the dead and the living animal, and the dead animal. Then they're gonna divide the money up, then keep it for themselves. Simple. That's another way of dealing with that type of scenario. So Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Yahweh obviously he knows the way we're supposed to deal with certain scenarios, and then we got to learn them from the scriptures. That's pretty much the message. So I think I'll just leave it there. So Qal Halalim La, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Bashir Kodash, double honest to the great Muslim apostles, and Thawla for the Akim and Aqwath listening. Can't just keep persevering. We're almost out of here. Obviously, keep learning from the scriptures, man, because this is the foundation. This is the foundation to the kingdom. And if Shalom, Akim, Shalom. Shalom for you, Akim. Akim means brothers. Aqwath means sister. And what's the thing? Shalom means peace or blessings. Basically, good tidings, isn't it? Good. Yeah, I'll just send Shalom, Akim, Shalom.